In the summer of 1984, Chief Jim Hopper made a promise. He built a secret cabin in the woods to hide and protect a young girl with incredible powers. He gave 11 a home, a father's love, and a last name. Their bond, forged in shared loss, became the emotional heart of Hawkins' fight against the darkness. But what if Hopper's promise was made to someone else entirely? Before you go any further, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell everyone where in the world you are watching from in the comments. Your support is what lets us explore these twisted timelines. What if, in that pivotal summer, Hopper's guilt took a different shape? What if he looked at another broken kid, one staring into the abyss after a lifetime of abuse, and saw a chance for redemption? What if Jim Hopper adopted Billy Hargrove instead of 11? Our story changes in July 1984. Billy, reckless and angry after the Starcourt Mall fire, is arrested for another drunk and disorderly. His father, Neil, finally washes his hands of him for good. Sitting in the Hawkins PD cell, Billy is just another lost cause. But Hopper sees something else. He sees the ghost of his own self-destruction after his daughter Sarah died. He doesn't see a bully. He sees a victim who never had a Jim Hopper. So, using his authority, Hopper makes a deal. Billy comes to live with him under strict rules, as a last chance to straighten out. The effects are immediate and catastrophic. Without Hopper's protection, 11 has no safe harbor in Hawkins. Dr. Owen's people, or worse, Brenner's remaining agents, find her almost immediately. She is taken back into custody, years earlier than in our timeline. The weapon is reclaimed by the lab. Meanwhile, in Hopper's cabin, a Cold War begins. Billy is resistant, hostile, and sees Hopper's efforts as pity. But slowly, the rigid structure and consistent, if gruff, care start to work. Billy gets a job. He shows up for curfew. The constant anger begins to cool into a guarded truce. He even starts secretly to fix up the chief's old Camaro. A fragile bond starts to form. But this new stability in Billy's life creates a terrifying vulnerability elsewhere. The piece of the mind flare that survived the gate's closure is still out there, seeking a vector. In our world, it targeted Billy because he was isolated and full of rage. Here, he's healing. He is not the perfect vessel, so the flare turns its attention to the next best thing. It seeks someone else who is hurting, who feels abandoned, who is pulsing with a different kind of pain. It finds Max, alone, because her stepbrother is now living with the chief and trying to be better, a change she doesn't trust. Hurting, because she feels Billy replaced her just like her father did. And most importantly, she is secretly guilt-ridden over what happened to Billy at Starcourt. A story she can tell no one. She is the perfect target. The flare spores infect her not at the hospital, but in the empty, quiet trailer park. The invasion of Hawkins now has a new, heartbreaking general, and the only person who might sense the change in her is the brother who is finally trying to be good, setting up a brutal conflict that could break Hopper's heart all over again. The infection of Max Mayfield happens in silence, without Billy nearby to draw the flare's focus. Its remnant seeks out the deepest, freshest pain it can find. Max's guilt over Billy's Starcourt trauma and her feeling of abandonment becomes a gateway. She starts to have headaches. She hears a faint, familiar melody, not from a Kate Bush cassette, but from the haunting notes of her childhood lullaby, twisted and wrong. She begins to drift, pushing Lucas and the party further away, believing she is protecting them from her new, dark reality. At the same time, Hopper's project with Billy is showing real, fragile progress. Billy is even starting to occasionally have dinner with Hopper and Joyce. The atmosphere tense but civil. However, this very progress puts Hopper in the worst possible position. He is no longer the lone wolf cop investigating weird events. His attention is split, his instincts dulled by the demands of parenting a troubled teenager. He is not patrolling the woods or following up on odd reports. The early signs of the flare's return go completely unnoticed. Meanwhile, the captured 11 is not at the Nina project. She's back under the direct control of Dr. Brenner at a restored Hawkins lab. Brenner's method is not gentle recollection, but forced activation. He uses amplified versions of her old traumas to shock her powers back into existence, making her relive the Demogorgon fight, the gate closing, over and over. She is regaining her strength, but as a scalpel for Brenner, not a shield for Hawkins. Her connection to Mike and her friends is severed, replaced by the sterile walls of the Rainbow Room. The first major fracture in this new timeline happens at the Palace Arcade. Max, feeling the flare's pull intensify, goes there seeking the noise and light to drown out the voice in her head. Lucas, worried, finds her. He tries to talk to her, but she is distant, paranoid. When he reaches for her hand, her eyes flash with a familiar, inky darkness. She doesn't shove him, but her voice is cold and flat, telling him to leave her alone forever. Lucas, heartbroken, retreats. He tells the party, but with Mike obsessed with finding the missing 11, Dustin focused on his Cerebro radio, and Will secretly sensing a new wrongness in the air. Max's change is seen as just more teen drama. The system fails to see the infection until it is too late. By the time Halloween 1984 rolls around, two storms are brewing. In the lab, Brenner prepares for a test. He has located a psychic signature he believes is another number, a potential rival or tool. He plans to send 11 to make contact, to recruit or eliminate. This signature is not Kali. It is the dark, resonant frequency of Henry Creel, still trapped in the Upside Down, patiently weaving his plans. Brenner, in his arrogance, is about to hand his most powerful weapon the address of his greatest mistake. And in the trailer park, Max completes her transformation. Alone in her bedroom, she finally gives in. The shadow pours into her. Her eyes turn black as she smiles a smile that is not her own. The Flayed have their new leader, and her first act, driven by the painful memories of a brother who left her, is to walk next door. She knocks on the door of the one person who she knows will open it. The person filled with the same loneliness and granola bars. She stands before a confused and concerned Will Byers, and in a voice that is a chorus of whispers, she says, "He needs you. He wants you to help us remember. The Mind Flayer has just recruited its original spy, and the party is about to be shattered from within." Will Byers, still haunted by his own connection to the shadow, is uniquely vulnerable to Max's request. The Flayer within her speaks to the piece of it still inside him. He lets her in. That night, Will begins to draw again, but not his own pictures. His hand moves on its own, sketching detailed, terrifying images of the Creel house grandfather clock, its hands frozen at 1 minute to midnight. He gives the drawings to a horrified Mike the next day, not understanding their meaning, only that Max asked him to. Mike, already desperate over 11, now sees this as a sign the Upside Down is targeting his other best friend. He misreads the threat entirely, thinking Will is in danger again, not that he is becoming a weapon. While the kids scramble, Hopper and Billy hit their breaking point. Billy finds the drawings in Hopper's cabin. He recognizes the clock from the old town gossip about the Creel murder house. More importantly, he recognizes the artistic style as Max's, from the sketches she used to do back in California. He connects the dots Hopper missed. He confronts Hopper, not with anger, but with a cold, clear fear. He tells him something is very wrong with his sister, and that the chief is too busy playing dad to see the real danger. Hopper, struck by the truth in Billy's words and the echo of his own past failures, is finally jolted into action. The cop wakes up. He and Billy form an easy alliance, not as father and son, but as investigators. Their first stop is the Creel house. Hawkins lab. Brenner's plan moves forward. 11, under heavy guard, is placed in the sensory deprivation tank. Her mission is to find and assess the powerful psychic signature Brenner has detected. She enters the void. Instead of finding a lost sibling, she is drawn to a place of immense pain and power. She sees the decaying upside-down version of the Creel house, and standing before the clock is a man she thought was gone forever. One, Henry. He turns and smiles at her. He has been waiting. He tells her he knows Papa has sent her, and that she is still just a tool. But he offers her a different path. He shows her a vision not of her own past, but of Billy Hargrove, laughing with Hopper at a diner. A normal life, something she was never allowed. He whispers that he can give her that freedom if she helps him be free too. In this moment, Eleven's loyalty wavers. The foundation of her heroism cracks. Back at the real Creel house, Hopper and Billy find more than dust. They find the real-world clock, its hands broken. But in the basement, they find something new, something not in the old case files. They find fresh chemical burns on the floor and a military-grade radio set tuned to a dead frequency. This is not just a haunted house. It's a listening post. As Billy shines his flashlight, the vines in the dark corner of the basement, thought to be dead since the gate closed, twitch. A single black tendril whips out and wraps around Billy's ankle. It doesn't try to pull him. It just holds him as if remembering an old friend. Billy freezes, the memories of the sauna and the mind flayer's voice flooding back. And in that moment of shared connection, the flayer, through Max miles away, knows exactly where they are. The trap was not for Will. It was for the one host that got away. And he has just walked back in. Billy's scream in the Creel house basement is not just from pain, but from recognition. The flayer's touch floods him with the same violent impulses he fought in the sauna. But this time, Hopper is there. He doesn't hesitate. He grabs an axe from the wall and severs the vine, pulling Billy back. The connection is broken, but the message is sent. The flayer now knows its original vessel is vulnerable. And in the trailer park, Max's head snaps up. She knows where her brother is. At the lab, 11 pulls herself from the tank, gasping. She lies to Brenner. She tells him the signature is gone, but secretly, she holds on to the image Henry showed her, the vision of a normal life. She has made a choice. She will find this Billy, this boy who got the family she wanted. He is her new mission. In Hawkins. The party finally pieces together the truth, but too late. Will, feeling the flayer's call through Max, leads Mike and Lucas to the Creel house, hoping to save her. They arrive just as Hopper is dragging a shaken Billy outside. They all converge in the overgrown yard, a fractured group. Mike sees Billy with Hopper and is confused and betrayed. Lucas sees the black veins in Max's eyes as she steps from the woods, leading a group of flayed townspeople, and his heart breaks. Max speaks, her voice echoing. She tells Billy to come home, to finish what he started at Starcourt. Billy, looking from Hopper's determined face to his sister's empty eyes, makes his final choice. He stands beside Hopper. He tells Max he's not her monster anymore. This rejection is the final trigger. The flayed attack. The fight is chaos. Hopper and Billy fight back to back against the mindless horde. The kids scramble, but the real battle is elsewhere. Sensing the psychic turmoil, 11 escapes the lab. Using the mental image from Henry, she finds Billy in the void and follows the link to Hawkins. She arrives not as a savior, but as an uncertain force. She sees the flayer in Max and prepares to fight, but Henry's voice whispers to her again, showing her Brenner's men closing in. He offers a deal. He will stop the flayer here if she uses her power to open the door for him somewhere else. With police sirens and lab vehicles approaching, 11 makes her decision. She turns her power not on Max, but on the ground between the Creel house and the library. The earth tears open, but this gate does not lead to the Mind Flayer's dimension. It is red and storm-racked, and from it steps Vecna, freeing Hawkins for the first time. He looks at the flayer controlling Max and raises a hand. The flayed freeze. He speaks a single word, mine. The shadow cloud is pulled from Max and the others, consumed back into Vecna, making him stronger. Max collapses, alive but empty. Vecna then turns his gaze on the group, on 11, and smiles. The old monster is gone. A new, smarter, more personal one has taken its place. And as the authorities swarm the scene, he simply steps back into his red storm, leaving a town shattered by a different kind of horror. Hopper holds a crying Billy, looking at the ruined faces of the kids, knowing the real battle has just begun, and he failed to protect everyone. The father found a son, but in doing so, he helped loose the ultimate evil.